tend to know each other, is that I think that we have the ability to pool our resources together. And I don't think in a county this size that there's any excuse to let any family or any child slip through the cracks. I don't think that's acceptable. And if I am elected judge, I will do my best to make sure that that does not happen on my watch.
No, I'm good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, obviously, these are new positions, and for lack of a better term, you have to hit the ground running. It's a startup. If you were going to start up a business, this couldn't be probably the worst startup you could imagine.
Right.
It's going to be tough. And how would you handle it? How are you going to handle it? I mean, what do you see as the biggest challenges going into it?
Well, there's going to be the amount of the caseload that is pending right now needs to be dealt with. There is a backlog of cases, and those cases need to be dealt with on an expedited basis. As I am now, or as my law firm right now is handling clients' cases and new filings are still taking place, those cases will be dealt with by the two judges who are elected this November. And those two judges don't take office until February. So those cases, unfortunately, there's not going to be a lot of progress made until the new judges can get seated and sworn in and start working on them. I think some of the advantages we're going to have is that we're going to be able to have two judges, two decision makers who are going to be effectively able to handle the cases. Court will be able to held on up to 5 days a week as needed. And I think the judges really need to do a good job of forcing the parties to be reasonable when necessary, making sure that attorneys are prepared when they come to court and ready to move cases along. Far too often we have court dates and everybody ends up coming to the courthouse ready for their case to be resolved, and oftentimes nothing seems to happen or substantial progress is not made. I think the judge really needs to take some responsibility in that regard and move these cases along for everybody's benefit.
Now, there are as a lawyer, there are tricks. There's a little stuff that you can do to delay things. And how is it how can a judge alleviate some of those tactics so that you can get through this caseload as quickly as you possibly can, so that we can best serve the families as quickly as possible? Because it just seems to me that time is a major factor in these things. There's no reason for these families to go through more than they have to it needs to be short and sweet.
When a case, that's a great question. When a case gets started up in divorce court, for example, and there's a new filing for divorce, one of the first things that the judge does is he sets a schedule. He puts a schedule in place with regards to when certain things need to be accomplished by, and this schedule leads up to a final hearing, which is like a trial, where if the parties still don't have the case resolved, they have their day in court and they present their evidence and testimony to the judge, and the judge makes a decision. It's a great plan, but where it fails is that sometimes the judge doesn't monitor the progression between when the orders are put into place and when the final hearing is held. The judge needs to be involved in the process. The judge needs to have attorneys' conferences scheduled where he's asking the attorneys if they've completed the discovery process, where he's making sure that witness lists have been exchanged, where he's making sure that the guardian ad litem is on top of the report.
What's in litem? That's in lieu of?
Friend of.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And the judge needs to stay involved with regards to the case.
Well, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you, sir.
And good luck with your campaign.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching Urbana Leader. You can visit us on the web at www.urbanaleader.blogspot.com, or you can email us your ideas for the show at urbanaleader@hotmail.com. Thank you for watching.